Hello, District 5. This is our first Facebook Live, and I'm really excited about it. We're here to discuss women's equality. Where have we been? What do we still need to do, and where we're going? And today we have with us Michele Levy, and we have Cristina Santana, and they're going to introduce themselves.
My name is Michele Levy, and I am currently on the state board of the League of Women Voters, and my responsibility is elections. Before that, though, we all volunteer at the League of Women Voters, but I did work for over 30 years for the state of Florida as a social worker, mostly with individuals with developmental disabilities. And I have been involved with the League, I think it's 12 years now. I was co-president of the Orange County League, and now I am on the state board. And my focus has always been elections.
Hi, good morning. MC Santana. I work at UCF. I'm currently the director for the Women and Gender Studies program. We're an academic program, but we also do outreach community work. I also teach for the program, first and second wave of feminism, women and gender studies, theory of gender, research on gender and women, and women, race, and struggle, as well as gender and community activism. I'm an activist, therefore I teach my students to be an activist and be very involved in their society and their community, and I'm delighted to be here.
And I'm your County Commissioner for District 5 in Orange County, Emily Bonilla. So, for about 100 years now, women have had the right to vote. And we've had a lot of challenges along the way, and as women we have a lot of challenges in the workplace too, in trying to get into those male-dominated fields. So where do you see us now?
Well, we've come a long way, that's true. But it took us an awful long time to get there. And I just want everybody to remember that this actually started at the time of the American Revolution, and it started with Abigail Adams, who reminded her husband John Adams to not forget the ladies, that they would not want to be living under any laws that they did not have a chance to participate in. So there were a lot of faults in, our original Declaration of Independence and the whole concept of all men are created equal. And at that time, the only people who were actually allowed to vote were white men with property. And so it's, it was a long way, but it actually started with two suffragists living up in the New York area in Seneca Falls, and that was Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony. And it's just, I have a date in my mind that I just always like to talk about, and that's November 5th, 1872. And it's after the Civil War. It's after the passing of the 14th Amendment, which allowed all citizens to vote, except it really didn't, but that was the purpose of it. And Susan B. Anthony showed up at a barber shop in Rochester, New York, where she lived, to vote. And they allowed her to vote, but when she got home, they were waiting for her at the door. They arrested her and brought her before a magistrate who said, "You're going to have to pay $500 or spend 3 years in jail." And she, of course, refused, and she never went to jail and never paid the money. And at the same time, a freed slave by the name of Sojourner Truth tried to vote in Battle Creek, Michigan. She was immediately arrested. And 5 women who were teachers at a state teachers' college outside of New York City all tried to vote. Their votes were put in a top hat. The hat disappeared, and needless to say, the ballots were never counted. And at the same time in Columbia, South Carolina, there were 6 women who were freed slaves who dressed up as men and went to vote, and incredibly, their votes counted. That was just the beginning of, the fact that, hey, we're going to have to actually get an amendment passed. And yeah, it's 99 years today that the amendment has passed, and we are still fighting. And I want you all to remember that it wasn't given to us. Women fought to get this, and we're still fighting.
And I think when you, moving forward a little bit, Title IX has really helped young women to participate in sports, to have that equal opportunity in college, to go to have an education. But we're still fighting some of the elements of Title IX. And there's no explicit guarantee of 100% of equal opportunity for women in the workplace as well as in education. When you look at how many women work, for example, in construction versus technology or education and social services, it's disproportionate. And it's almost like, why? Why is that taking place? Why are women not going into those professions that are so well paid? And that can really situate them better in the economy of their situation in their homes. And when you look at the numbers of how many women enter the engineering community as an undergraduate and how many actually practice, then there is a big gap. And what happened to those women? Why they don't practice what they study, or why don't they finish that career? So we're talking a little bit about cultural impact as well as laws and degrees or efforts by politicians. But once the cultural continues to be a setback, those laws are just very nice, very beautiful in paper. But the community itself also has to respond for that equity for women.
So my next question is, what still needs to be done? What do we need to do?
Well, in the workplace, we have a lot to do, and it's unfortunate that a lot of men have the feeling that women are just working for a vacation or a boat or something like that. We have women who are supporting families. We have women who are the major earners in their family, and I remember the first job I interviewed for, and I was asked at the time, well, what happens if your children get sick? And I thought to myself, that's not a question you would ask a man, right? You wouldn't ask a man who was interviewing, what happens if your children get sick? So this kind of thing still goes on, and it makes it really difficult, but women are fighting back. And, we do see a lot of women in professions where they weren't allowed before. There are a majority of women now in medical school. There are a majority of women in law school. So that's great. We need to see more in the sciences and engineering. And women have to have just an opportunity because they are, they need to be wage earners. And they need to have fair and equal pay. And I think that the Lilly Ledbetter law did help them. But we still have a ways to go. We're still fighting.
I think one of the things I encourage my students is to learn about salary negotiation. And we do exercises in the classroom, as well as I am a salary negotiator for the state of Florida with AAUW and their Smart Work, which is kind of like a training that you receive so that you are able to discuss freely, openly, and without fear what you think you are worth in this particular field. Obviously, it starts with research to understand how much certain positions pay. But it is inevitable that women are negotiating $20,000 and $25,000 under the pay of a male. And there's no reason. It's because they are equipped, they are educated, they have experience. But it is a little bit of that cultural combination of maybe they should tell me how much I should pay, I should get, instead of asking or demanding what they need. And it is that little backbone of leadership that we work so hard with them, starting middle school and our middle school programs on STEM, as well as at college. Believe it or not, a college-educated woman perhaps is more shy than somebody who has not had a formal education on negotiating that first salary, which is going to impact the rest of the promotions and so forth. So salary negotiation for me is very, very important. It is not, it's just to be fair. It has nothing to do with you're aggressive or you're more demanding. It has to do with what is it that you deserve as a professional. And I know it's kind of sad to have to discuss this, but it's very important for people to be aware that you have it in your hands to actually get what you deserve.
Thank you. And what advice would you have for women today?
Well, the whole thing about leaning forward and about knowing your value, I think women are being taught that now. And being able to negotiate is true. I heard somewhere that, if men feel they're qualified, if they have 35% of the qualifications, with women, they have to have just about all before they think they're qualified.
You're right.
Right?
Yes.
And so that makes it really challenging. But, I think what women also need, and this is really key, is they need help with childcare. They need subsidized childcare. And, when I was a social worker and trying to get, women childcare, 4C, which was getting, money from local government, had a waiting list, a huge waiting list. So that's really what they need, is they need good, decent, affordable childcare to help them, navigate work. And, they just need to, once again, have opportunities. And of course, that's education, and it's going back to school, and that's just something that women are doing. And I think all women need now realize that they can't depend upon a man anymore to be the sole breadwinner. You can't do it. So they're going to have to look at careers, and they're going to need to look at what they can do, and they're going to need to plan their families. So all of this is something that women, I think, especially young women, understand.
You took my line, because I was going to mention childcare. Sometimes women are penalized by having the most stable job, and sometimes they're penalized by being highly educated, especially in the court, especially in cases of divorce. But then at the same time, when they want to join that workforce and they want to be there full time, or they want to take a new promotion, childcare is crucial. Not just because it's very expensive, but it's not very good. So it involves then the psyche of that woman feeling as a mother, I should have been there, I should be with this child, versus I'm just doing a wonderful job and they need me also in my job. So childcare should not be a sense of guilt for women in this country. It should not be taking away 85% of your salary just to have mediocre care. So for me, definitely, but that's in case you want to be a mother. But what if you don't want to be a mother but you're still highly educated and you have been working very hard to save money? The courts see you then as an asset, and your husband, because he never paid anything or didn't save any money, now suddenly we need to help him. So I see this again and again, and I say, why penalize the woman that has worked very hard in her field, that is highly educated, that perhaps have saved money, to now protect the other spouse? So there's a lot of work to be done to feel equal, to feel at the same level in this society.
Any final words that you'd like to share?
I just want to say, 99 years. The League of Women Voters is also celebrating their 99th year, and it was actually 6 months before the passage of the 19th Amendment that there was a meeting of the National Organization of Women's Suffrage in Chicago. It was on February 14th, which happens to be the same day as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. But what happened was Cherry Catman Catt, who was president of the League, said, we're going to have 20 million new voters. And we want to make sure that they have the education and the understanding of the fact that they're going to be voting, and they don't have to ask their husbands or their fathers or their brothers who to vote for. And that's the reason that the League was founded, was because of the passage of the 19th Amendment. So next year will be our 100th year, and we just need to see more improvement and more change. And a woman president would be nice.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for doing this, because I think a community needs its members, and people need to be involved into what they care about each other. So politics, it should not be something adverse or something different out there. It's something very real in people's minds, because you can make change, and you approve of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here and being on our Facebook Live. I really appreciate it, and thank you for all that you're doing to help with women's equality, getting the word out there, and all the work that you do. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We do have.
And I also have some certificates for you. Thank you for participating.
Oh, thank you. Wonderful.
Very nice. Thank you. You can smell Michele, right?
There we go. For our wall.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.